In today's episode, On the Health Spot with Omar podcast, Phil Davis is an author, father, and personal trainer of 15 years, which includes a combined 24 years of experience in weight training, bodybuilding, and powerlifting. In this episode, we cover why cardio is not healthy for weight loss, how to get started into fitness, supplementation, and why it's good to move on to new goals.
Why are we a fatter and sicker nation?
People want things now. They're not prepared to cook anymore. We're not really spending time with our families.
Why isn't bodybuilding actually healthy for the body? And you're not
That's a risk I'm not willing to take.
Female came over to you and, oh look, she wants to lose weight. Said, if I just do cardio, is that a good idea?
If you're running for long, extended periods of time, you'll actually.
You know what? On social media, you see some crazy stuff on social media, though, isn't it? Like they're doing a pull-up, but they're pulling up like the weightlifting bench.
This is the thing with social media. Some influencers tell you, "This is what I did to get like this." They're not telling you the full story.
Does it count as cardio if you just move the weights faster? Phil, thank you so much for joining me, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
How's your holiday?
It was good. It was good.
Where did you go?
Ibiza.
Oh, nice. Was that a lad's holiday or was it a family thing? Or
it was a lad. It was a lad, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. Why you say you can't take family there? Or
well, not that far, Ibiza. No.
So yeah, if you could just tell the listeners who you are and what you do.
I'm Phillipe Davis. I've been training for 24 years. I've been a personal trainer for 15 of those years. And I've done bodybuilding. Natural bodybuilding. So I've trained in powerlifting, amateur. Well, I've trained with amateur powerlifters.
Yeah.
Now my passion is boxing.
Okay, so why has it gone from natural bodybuilding then now from powerlifting to boxing? What's happened in that time frame?
Well, my belief is that you should always set yourself goals and never just pigeon yourself off to do one particular thing. That's how I've been. I would set myself a goal in a sport or a activity, and then I'll do it to the best of my ability. When I get bored, I'll set myself a new goal. So at this stage in my life, I've found boxing to be like my latest interest.
Brilliant. Nice. So tell me, because the first thing you said is natural bodybuilding, but what is the difference, would you say, between natural bodybuilding and bodybuilding?
Okay, so mainstream bodybuilding, which you can use supplements to enhance your physique or hold muscle and retain muscle. Whereas natural bodybuilding, you're relying on just your food. So you get to learn how important carbohydrates are, how important that salts and sugars and fats can affect the body. And actually, even if you're doing enhanced bodybuilding, you still have to have an education into diet. It's not just as simple as take a load of gear and then you hold muscle. No, it doesn't work like that. So you have to put work in even if you are enhanced. But with natural bodybuilding, you're trying to hold on to as much muscle as possible because you haven't got that supplement of the extra testosterone.
Yeah, I think there's like you said, there's a misconception that just if you're on gear or PEDs, drugs, if you just take it, then that'll be it. But there's still I've seen YouTube videos where it's like not a prank video, but the guy's like, "Oh, are you on steroids?" And the guy's like, "Yeah," but you can't even tell that the guy is. And it's like, and I'm just looking at it, I'm thinking, mate, you could literally get your physique without even having to go PEDs. It's just hard work and eating the right foods, no?
Yeah. So, like, with testosterone or synthetic testosterone that people tend to put in their body, if your testosterone levels are low in the first place, You're not necessarily going to turn into like Superman overnight. But I know from training with people, and I've seen results of what it's done from someone that's rushed to take steroids before they've even given enough time to build natural muscle, to people that have been training for X amount of years and then they take steroids to enhance their physique.
And it's interesting you mentioned natural bodybuilding. Is that because you're more interested in the natural side of the world rather than the synthetic side?
Definitely.
Why is that?
Because I would have been afraid of the side effects. I've always been afraid that you're putting something unnatural into your body, or you're putting something X into your body. So anything we put into our body naturally has to balance it out. So I've always studied and researched the fact, because it is interesting. So if you put an excess amount of testosterone in your body that you're more than your body was prepared to produce, what happens is your gonads will shut down and won't produce any naturally for the time that you're taking in.
And your nuts will shrink as well, right?
Your nuts will shrink. That's a risk I'm not willing to take. And I've seen it, and I've had training partners that have spoken about taking certain steroids, and they step their sex drive, basically. And then the other times it's caused them to have mood swings and become over emotional. So that's something that's always deterred me. I mean, it's never something that's been interested in me, just to put on a bit of extra muscle, just for someone to say how much you benched. Don't make sense to me.
I find that a lot of people are quite desperate to get results these days really quick. Do you see that as well?
Over the years, a lot more.
You think that is?
Because it's this instant gratification. Is people want things now. They're not willing to take time to learn and actually enjoy the process. They just want the end result. Which, I get it, but there is a process, and there is that sense of pride that you struggle and you actually learn in time, rather than easy come and easy go, which it will go quite quickly.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you explain that to a new client in front of you? Phil, I want to get ripped. I want to get big as soon as possible within 6 weeks. How do you explain that? Do you get that a lot?
I get that a hell of a lot. I've actually had clients that have come to me from previous coaches that have given them steroids. And the results that they got haven't worked.
Why hasn't it worked if they're on steroids?
Because the training is basically crap. So,
well, as far as I'm aware, if you're on steroids, you should easily be training 2 hard sessions a day. Bill?
Wow. If you could do 2 hard sessions a day, it's like, but is the quality of the session good enough? Just because you're in the gym, it doesn't mean that you pick up a weight and then all of a sudden you grow and you get muscle. You got to know how the muscles work. You got to know about time under tension. You got to know about putting in the work and putting in the resistance. And as we said, people nowadays aren't willing to work and dig deep. They just want to have the end result. And then as soon as the work starts, or they have to put in the work, then they usually back down very, very fast.
Do you find that when you're speaking to these clients, they get a bit emotional about it?
Yeah, they can do.
In terms of when I say emotional, I just mean like just huffing and puffing. Like, no, man, I want to get this done quicker. Is there no other way? Get maybe frustration in the first conversation. Once
we break them down and let them understand that it is a long journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Sometimes you can get through to the person. Sometimes they want to rush. If they believe that there's a small window of hope out there where they can get gains and they will laugh, they will stick with you and they will actually listen to what you're saying. I think people tend to listen to me and understand and agree with my process rather than taking steroids, usually, especially when you show them the side effects.
Would you say your approach is yours the natural food way?
Yes, and there's natural supplements out there that can help your training. Creatine, ashwagandha, which also helps with your libido levels. Maca milk powder.
Yeah, love maca.
These are the 3 basic supplements that I would use to boost someone's natural testosterone as well as libido. So it makes you feel better, and they're all natural.
So what made you get into personal training then?
The love of bodybuilding, understanding how the body works. Because the body, like as I said, the body will always try to balance itself out. So if you put extra testosterone into your body, for example, your body will shut down. If you put too much sugar into your body, you become insulin resistant, and you could give yourself diabetes. So these kind of things have always interested me.
I had a jacket potato the other day, and I nearly fell asleep. And then, and I knew why I was falling asleep, because I don't really hit like white carbs hardly ever. But that day we were out and we were in Costco, and the only thing I could see in the menu was like, okay, I'll have the jack potato. But mate, I was like ready for a nap.
Oh, because it will spike up your blood sugar.
Yeah.
And then you'll get this burst of energy, and then if you don't use the energy, like you will get knackered, and you will, like you said, you will feel like sleeping after. Yeah. But the thing about it is it will metabolize the fat a lot quicker than if you're having like whole grain or whole foods.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying.
Why are we a fatter and sicker nation, would you say, from what you've seen over the past 24 years? Because you obviously, over the past 24 years, I can imagine you've seen a change in society.
Oh, hello. Oh, yeah. Again, it's the faster pace of life. People want things now. They're not prepared to cook anymore. We're not really spending time with our families as much as we can. Everything is done on the go and instant.
You mentioned people not spending time with their families. What's the link between that and people being fat?
If you think about it, when I was growing, when I was younger, it would be a thing of spending your Sunday around your mum's, and then she'll cook the Sunday dinner, and everyone will come around, and then you have a whole meal, where there wasn't so much fast food restaurants like Subway, like Greg's wasn't that popular.
Yeah, even the Uber deliveries as well.
Tap something on your phone and then you'll have a meal within 20 minutes. Whereas before, when technology wasn't like that, you'd have to cook your food. You'd have to go out and shop. And Pizza Hut was the only thing that was available, which you might have a pizza on a Saturday. Now Pizza Hut's available, or you've got other kind of food available, fast food available. That's not really good. That's high in sugars. That's just easily available and can easily be done at a push of a button.
Yeah. So you're saying the biggest change is basically the convenience of all these fast food being available, literally at the cut of a button. It's just amazing how quickly it's changed. Like they always show on social media. They all show images of how people used to look on the beach, and you look at them now, it's like night and day difference, isn't it?
Yeah. And even on the flip side of that, it's where you have people that are obese from becoming like unsociable. They want to stay in their houses, and they tend to overeat because of foods readily available. But the other flip side is the social media with the Instagram and with the TikTok videos and these influencers. So now you've got people that are under eating, and you've got people that are afraid to eat because they want to look like their Instagram celebrity. One of the things where you've got girls, young, impressionable girls, are afraid to eat food or afraid to even exercise in a certain way because they think that they might get fat. You know what I mean?
Or they might think that they're gonna get really muscular. So tell me about that.
Yeah.
You must get women come up to you and say, "Oh, I don't want to lift weights because I'm gonna be too muscly, and I don't want to be muscly." So for the listeners out there, for the women out there who say, I don't want to lift weights because I'm get too muscular," what do you say to those girls who want to be in shape but do not want to lift weights?
Well, it's kind of impossible, isn't it? You need a certain amount of muscle. You need muscle on your body. So not only to function, but it will also help you burn fat. And because women are usually estrogen-based, most women are estrogen-based, men are testosterone-based, they don't realize that no matter how much they work out, they're going to need a certain amount of muscle on their body so they can actually function. And so that they can actually look more fitter as it is without looking fat. It stumps me. I mean,
Essentially, muscle is actually smaller than fat.
pound of fat and a pound of muscle.
That's it. In comparison,
pound of muscle,
yeah,
pound of fat is completely different.
So I've got a family member who's in a predicament where he's got issues with his liver and is really overweight and is stressed. Yep. And I went to see him yesterday. We were at a party yesterday, and I showed him a picture when I went fat after 6 months, because I've always been training. I've been shredded, all the rest of it, yeah. So I took a picture back in the day because I was like, you know what? One day I might, lose my way. So I took a picture, and then I also took a picture after 6 months of marriage and just enjoying too much food, way too much, and eat anything and everything. And my family members, the wife said, to her husband, just eat less. Why eating so much protein, basically? And I showed him a picture. One was me when I was fat, and one was when I was really lean. And I said, okay.
Same weight.
I said to him, how much do you think I weighed here when I was fat? He said, 17 stone. I was like, okay. How much do you think I weighed when I was lean? He said, 14 stone. I was like, both pictures, I weighed 13 stone. And he was like, what? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, all you have to do is eat clean and train. But the problem is you're not doing that. Don't eat less, because you're going to need that to, you can explain it. Like when the muscle breaks down, what does the muscle need?
Well, you need glycogen as well. So
yeah.
If you're under eating, you have a thing called the BMR, basal metabolic rate. So if I were burning the minimum amount of calories of like 1,300 when I'm sleeping, this is the minimum amount my body needs to survive at rest. If I try to eat below that, my body, like I said, with balance, my body will hold on to fat, because we need a certain amount of fat for energy. So if you try to drop below your BMR through not eating, your body will hold on to fat, and it would rather get rid of the muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So, because even though we need much muscle to function, we need fat more to survive.
That's right.
Right. Now, the mistake people make is actually you can eat less of the wrong thing. So usually they say, oh, I'm going to completely cut out carbs, and I'm going to eat loads of protein and eat loads of vegetables. But carbohydrates are in protein, and carbohydrates are still in vegetables. There's just a lower concentration of them.
That's right.
And as you said earlier, with white carbohydrates, they can spike your blood sugar really fast, and sometimes, not all the time, sometimes it can be beneficial for you, but a lot of the time it's unbeneficial.
But that's only if the glycogen stores are low, right? That's when it can be beneficial, right?
Correct.
And because I guess yourself as well, well, I know for me, I don't eat much white carbs, but obviously if you overdo it, when the cells are full, you can basically shut down, be like, this is too much. You need to stop and have a nap.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and again, if you're overdoing it, you can become insulin resistant. White carbs, right, and bread, a lot of pastas and stuff like that will do that, which people don't know about. Even the fact that people are afraid to eat good fats as well nowadays perplexes me, because you got people that try to avoid good fats and good cholesterol. They, oh no, I don't want to put up my cholesterol levels, but yet their cholesterol levels are high.
It's funny you say that. I've been eating 4 to 5 eggs a day for the past 11 years, and my cholesterol's totally fine. And and
8, 9.
Oh wow, well done.
Whole egg.
My budget, 5 eggs is enough. I pushed it to 5, and I was saying to Ramona about this actually a couple of weeks ago. I was like, for years I've been eating 4 eggs, but do you know what? After that 5th egg, I actually feel full now. So she's like, the 5th egg. I was like, yeah. So what was I going to say? Yeah. So from what I've read now, what I understand now is actually you can't increase your cholesterol from food. It's actually done by your liver. Your liver actually increases your cholesterol. So like, I've got an uncle who's got quote unquote high cholesterol, and his doctor said, "Oh, don't eat anything with high cholesterol. Don't eat eggs." But I was like, "Well, I've got my cholesterol tested, and it's totally fine." So, but he's inactive. He's not active. I do feel like that has something to do with it. What do you think?
Of course, I totally agree. Food is a fuel, right? Now, if you're just eating and just sitting down, your body's going to store that fuel. But as I've mentioned before, you push up your blood sugars, and then you become insulin resistant, and then your liver, your pancreas, all of this becomes overworked because it's trying to constantly find that balance in you.
Mm-hmm.
And the more inactive you are, the worse it's going to get. So, yeah.
And it's going back into the society thing, because essentially before how we live in the modern day, we eat food, but we hunt for food, we fight for food, we kill for food. But now, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, like going to the supermarket. It just means that, I heard a quote from someone saying that it's interesting when people go to the gym, you're actually mimicking the idea of exercising. You're mimicking as if you're trying to fight something to get food, kill that animal or plants if people are vegan. So
we're meant to keep active.
Yeah.
You're meant to keep that saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. I mean, if you sit down all day, you're gonna get muscle atrophy. Your muscle will waste. So your muscles need resistance. So sitting down in the house, not doing anything, you're slowly killing yourself. Men, it tends to be, we need to shrink down the length of time that we're training into short bursts, and women need to turn over to compound lifts. So you've got your deadlifts, you've got your squats.
Mm-hmm.
We've got like basic clean and press or snatches. These will favour women in later life. Whereas men, we can still do it, but we would also have to incorporate HIIT training, high interval training. So this benefits us a lot in our later years, because the longer we train, the more likely we're going to get a cortisol spike, which is going to be a negative effect on our bodies.
Okay, brilliant. What is cortisol for those that don't know?
The stress hormone. Hence why in this stage of my life I've chosen boxing, because now I'm not necessarily training for longer. I train for about an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening. Whereas when I was younger, I could train a lot longer, could put my body through a lot more stress. Now, if I do that, I get fatigued and tired, and my body tends to ache. Naturally, I feel more aches in my joints training for longer than if I was to do a short HIIT session.
What would you describe as a HIIT session?
high intensity interval training.
So if you could give an example.
So you would lift a weight to the best of your ability for, say, 45 seconds. Give yourself a recovery time of 15 seconds. And then you'll move on to another exercise. You do this in a circuit. You might do about 4 different exercises or 5 different exercises, depending on what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you rest for about a minute for full recovery, and then you do the same thing again. I would train up to about, like I said, 45 minutes to an hour.
How many exercises would you do in that 45 minutes in that HIIT session?
So I'd break it down, upper body and lower body, and then I'll move on to boxing. I'll do like about 4 or 5 rounds on the bag.
Okay,
Keep it simple.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I remember when we had a chat on the phone. I think it was last year. Wasn't it? Was it last year?
Yeah.
On the phone? Bloody hell.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
You mentioned that you do doctor referrals as well. Doctor referrals.
GP referrals.
So that means what? So the GP will say to the patient, "Do you know what? You need to see a personal trainer for what would it be?"
Yeah, for high blood pressure, for injuries. So I've worked with people with lower back pain. I've worked with people that have suffered heart attacks, and I currently have a guy with me. He suffered 3 strokes and a major heart attack, and I am constantly having to explain to him about the importance of water to oxygenate the blood. He's not drinking enough water.
How much water is he drinking then currently?
He tends to have a beer now and then.
Ooh,
dehydrating sugary drinks, which dehydrates you. And people just don't understand the importance of water to oxygenate the blood, spin out the blood, and take in more oxygen. And you explain this to somebody that's had a heart attack or had a stroke, and you've got to tell them, look, this is the importance of water, having water while you're training.
Yeah.
Not even while you're training, your day-to-day life. Dropping your blood sugar levels.
Literally, your body is made out of water. 60 to 70% of an adult body is made out of water. I even say to my girls now, I say, look, water is important. They're like, well, why? I was like, girls, look, you know, when your eyeball is full of water, when you're crying, it's full of water. When you breathe, your water is coming out in steam. Like, get a glass. I always say this to my clients as well. Get a glass, breathe on that glass, and just wipe it. That's just water coming out of your body. And when you're sleeping, 8 hours sleep, we should be all getting 8 hours of sleep. When you're breathing, you're losing 8 hours worth of water in breath.
So I've even done it with my clients. I've had a client come in and on the off the night or for Raz or something like that. They've had a long weekend or something.
Yeah,
they've been drinking, and they'll train and they'll, I can't get my breath, I can't lose the weight, or and basically you're dehydrated. Not only you're dehydrated, your brain's shrunk. You're shrinking your brain from dehydration, basically, and you can't concentrate and you can't lift them or move as. And then the next week they might come in after listening and telling them, look, drink this amount of water, 2.5 liters a day minimum. You'll see the difference, and then you see the realization on their face when they're like, wow. And they're like, how come? It's simple water.
Simple. It's so simple, but, you know, as a nation, we're chronically dehydrated. There's pubs on every street corner, processed foods full of salt, dehydrating you.
So much people are tricked by these, you know, these fruit waters.
Tell me about that. Yeah, so tell me how that tricks people. Tea-flavored waters. Tell me about that.
Fruit. Water. When was the last time you've seen a strawberry juice come out of a strawberry and it's been colourless?
It's so funny you say that because I've got a juicer. I think you can see it at the back there right now.
Yeah.
And my daughter's like, oh, how come we can't juice a strawberry? Last time I saw colourless fruit.
Water, when you look on the back of these bottles, they've got ingredients. Why would water need ingredients and chemicals and additives? It doesn't make sense. If it's good for you, why does it not say strawberry flavored water, and then you look on the back and it says strawberry, berries? Makes no sense. And you're looking at a clear bottle of water that you're drinking, which is really sugar. And I mean, that's one of my big peeves. People try to look for the alternative to what naturally works. They're trying to reinvent a wheel, and people do this a lot. Yeah,
Sells, doesn't it? It sells.
Yeah.
People don't. The thing is, mate, it's tough having to change the mindset of someone who's trying to get healthy, but they don't. The first thing they'll say, it doesn't taste nice, innit?
Yeah, and you've got to forget about that. Because if usually things that taste nice that are really a problem. And I mean, if you think about it, it's temporary.
Yeah.
Whatever you're eating, it's just attacking your dopamine sensors. Then you're like, oh, you get that rush of dopamine, and you're like, oh, this feels good for the minute, but in the long time, you're killing yourself.
Why would you say that?
Based on the dehydration, based on pushing up your blood sugar, based on excess fat in the body that you don't need if you are overweight. Like I said, I was speaking to my client that had the heart attack, and I had to explain to him today. I said to him, "Where's your water?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I need to bring it." I'm like, "What? If it was a glass of beer, or if you had to bring like a sports drink, you would have bought it."
Yeah.
Water doesn't have a taste, so why do you say it don't taste nice? It doesn't make sense.
I'd say when I started my journey 10 years ago, I used to be drinking loads of water. I still do. But now, I think over the past 3 years, I've added Himalayan pink salt to my water, because I found out when I'm drinking the water, I'm actually pissing out the electrolytes as well. I'm losing electrolytes. So do you advise like a pinch of salt or some sort of electrolyte, or right now you just want to get the basic covered by just drinking water first?
Well, if you're not having enough salt, which is underrated, you will cramp. You'll actually dehydrate. And like you said, you lose your electrolytes. So I do recommend that a pinch of salt in the water. And even one of the tricks in bodybuilding, when you've lost all, like when you've lost the electrolytes because you're drinking so much water to dehydrate, you would have to have a pinch of salt. You'd have to, because you start cramping, your body starts cramping up. Even when you're lifting the weights, you literally feel your hands cramp, you feel your muscles cramp.
And for the listeners out there, you're talking about, to get that shredded look, body.
To get that
if you could just explain that. So correct me if I'm wrong. From what I understand is, to get that on stage shredded look, like 10 liters of water, is it, or something like that?
I've gone up to as much as 7 liters for the day.
So what's the science behind that? Then how does that actually work?
Again, with the body needing balance, you take in more water. So when you overload your body with water, your body gets rid of it and flushes it through. But there's only a small window of time that you can do this. So if you're doing it for the first 48 hours, you're tricking your body. You're saying, I'm going to take in 7 liters of water, and your body goes, this is too much. So it's going to pee out 7 liters plus, because it thinks that there's a continuous water stream. But when you stop and you do the last 12 hours of dehydration, you still pee. So you're peeing out 7 liters of water, and you'll get tighter and tighter and tighter.
Wow.
On top of that, you would drink a glass of white wine to dehydrate yourself.
Really? Alcohol?
Yeah, because alcohol dehydrates you.
Yes.
So you would drink like a glass of white wine the night before, and then the morning after, and you'll continue to, because you've been drinking water, say 7 liters of water for 72 hours, your body still thinks that you're going to take in more water. So you keep on peeing as though you were drinking 7 liters.
Wow.
So you get tighter and tighter. It's quite interesting. The body's amazing. It always balances itself. And this is one of my joys of training and knowing about the body.
Brilliant. So what do you lose? Well, I guess obviously you don't because you've been doing it. I would have thought having alcohol when you're trying to save as much muscle as possible would hurt some gains, no?
Well, it's one glass of wine.
Oh, is it just one?
It's one glass of wine. So you have half a glass of wine the night before and a half a glass of wine the night after.
Wow.
Even though we already know that wine dehydrates and alcohol dehydrates, it's a temporary. Bodybuilding is not the healthiest thing to be involved in.
Wow, I was going to save this question for another guest, but you said it. You said it now. So let's put it out there. Why isn't bodybuilding actually healthy for the body?
As I've already said, so if you've listened to the podcast, right, the body needs a balance. So you need fat. You do need a certain amount of fat in your body so you can function, because that's where your energy is. Muscle is a byproduct, and it is also good to move your body around, but your body doesn't necessarily need muscle. Now, if you put your body out of balance and just have muscle and no fat, bodybuilders are actually, just before stepping on stage, you're at your weakest because your fat levels are really, really low. And as I've already said, you feed out all your electrolytes, you feed out all your fat reserves, you chunk your fat cells down so you can step on stage and you have all your muscles showing. It's counterproductive. So you look like you're your healthiest because you've got all these muscles showing and you look amazing, but you have no energy. You have absolutely no energy. It's really unhealthy.
But doesn't the body just use the protein on the body as energy instead?
It can do, but then we go into muscle atrophy, don't we? So you only have a small window of time of looking like that and being like that.
Wow. Yeah. How do you feel when you're up on stage and you're looking like that? How do you actually feel, like, mentally? Are you like, absolutely great?
Dizzy. You have dizzy spells. You do not feel amazing. You feel absolute shit. But you look the part for however long, because you can only stay like that for a short window of time as well. It's usually like 3 days at maximum. So yeah.
Have you ever
it's not that healthiest.
Have you ever collapsed from being like that?
I've never collapsed. I've had friends that have died from maximum dehydration.
By going on stage?
I knew a guy who competed in the British. He looked amazing. His best place ever in the British was 3rd place. And he died. When he died, his organs never had anywhere to go, and he was severely dehydrated. So bodybuilding is not the most healthiest. You look amazing, but that's about it. You look like a drawing, or you look like an action man.
Yeah.
But that's as far as it goes. The look on the outside, but the inside is usually taking a bad beating. So it's not the best.
So how much body fat is ideal for the average person? Because I know you can't say for anyone specifically, because it depends on what their body is like, right?
Yeah, it does depend on.
I've been as low as 8% when I was shredded, and I felt great, to be honest.
That might work for you, but you can go up to about 20% body fat, as much as 20% body fat, realistically.
Wow, okay.
For men, for women, it's a bit higher.
Is it? Yep.
So women, you want to be about 27% body fat.
That's because of their bodies are made to have children, right?
Breastfeeding for your cycle as well.
That's it.
If your body fat drops below like 17%, you could stop your period, and you can start having hormonal issues, hair loss, stuff like that. So body fat is really important for women. And again, when we look on Instagram, we're seeing women with shredded abs and really toned arms, and it's not the natural physique of a woman.
No, it's not. And that's what put off women, isn't it? That's what puts them off, saying, "Oh, I don't want to be big and shredded and muscular." But probably 9 times out of 10, the woman who has the shredded arms and stuff, she's probably on some testosterone, maybe.
There's things like Anavar that will be a low dose testosterone, which women tend to use. And there's other things that uneducated women would use because their boyfriend's giving them basically Test or Dynabol or something crazy, Trenbolone or something like that. These are high toxic, very, very strong steroids that will give you the look, but again, it's toxic to the liver, your internal organs. So
Exactly.
it's a shame, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is.
And it's even more so a shame that young kids look at this and they will try to emulate it. So, especially girls. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got, was it one daughter? Is it?
I've got a 7-year-old. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
nice. No, I've got a 6-year-old and I've got a 4-year-old as well.
Wow.
Two girls. And do you know what? I do my high intense upstairs because I've got a spinning bike now. Sometimes when I'm upstairs, the kids are quiet. They're already riding the bike in my office. I'm like, do you know what? I was like, do you know what? I'm glad because they're growing up, seeing what exercise is.
Exactly.
And the other day that we were in Asda, and my wife has said to my youngest daughter, saying, "Oh, when you get some Cocoa Pops?" And my youngest said, "Daddy said we're not allowed it."
Great start.
And I was like, "That's my girl," because I always say to them, "Why would you want to have dessert for breakfast?" It's the first thing I say.
Exactly. I'm in strong agreement. And when you think about it, it's just a load of sugar and bad carbs or and chemicals.
Yeah.
Food colorings and
synthetic vitamins and minerals that actually, I'm pretty sure, I need to find a study that you don't actually get much out of it, especially when you combine it with sugar. When you combine anything with sugar, you're already weakening your immune system already.
It's just sugar. So as I said before, they try to trick us by putting minerals, but the minerals that they're talking about is sugar that you can get from any kind of carbohydrate, and it's really crap in cereal, especially cereal.
Exactly. So if a female came over to you, wants to lose weight, and she says, "Oh, if I just do cardio, is that a good idea?" Because I get a lot of females say, "Oh, I'll just keep running on a treadmill. I was running up and down everywhere." And I was like, "Do you know what? That's probably not a good idea." But I'd like to hear from the PT. What do you say to that? Because you must get that a lot as well, right?
Yeah. So if you're running for long, extended periods of time, you'll actually start to get muscle atrophy, because again, muscle uses energy, and fat is your energy. So you're training your body to store more fat, so it can go for longer. So you get this kind of skinny fat look.
That's it. I mean, they do look. Ultimately, they do lose weight, don't they? They do lose weight, but it's
muscle.
Yeah, and that's what it is. You're losing muscle. That's the key.
You lose your muscle tone.
Yeah.
So if you look at a long distance runner, compared to a sprinter,
Mo Farah versus Usain Bolt, classic example.
Yeah, exactly. So his body's now in tune to running X amount of miles for X amount of time, and again, your body does not need the muscle or so much muscle. So it gets rid of the muscle and it stores fat, so you can go on for longer.
Because you need that energy to run. You don't need that. You don't need the muscle, because the muscle is for, I guess you mentioned earlier, short bursts of energy.
Short bursts, and just to be functional for certain movements. Now, like I said before, you look at a long distance runner, and they usually have good thighs, but wafer thin at the top.
I don't know why. Whereas you see, mate, like I've seen runners, mate, they're like stick thin. I'm like, all right, if I had a choice, what would I rather look like? Would I look like, again, Usain Bolt or Mo Farah? Love them both. Yeah, mate. Well, like, I've got chicken legs as it is, like, you know.
Yeah, but that is a very common thing that people want to do X amount of cardio, not realizing that they're training their body to store more fat and use less muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going for this tone look, which is not going to happen.
And that's the thing. I think there's a misunderstanding what the tone look is or how to gain that tone look. You have to lift weights or do some sort of resistance exercise. Yeah, and
the muscles need to work under tension.
That's it. Well, okay. You mentioned time under tension. What does that exactly mean?
Well, the slower that you move or weight, the more your muscle has to work. So if you're just rushing through an action or to do something,
you're
usually using more momentum than actually resistance. And as I said before, your muscles need to work. So taking a slow movement and controlled movement is always better than rushing through whatever exercise you're doing. Basic time under tension.
Exactly. Does it count as cardio if you just move the weights faster?
No, not necessarily. No.
You know when you see those memes where I said, "Oh, here's my like the bodybuilders memes," and they're like, "Oh, here's my cardio. I'm just gonna lift the weights really quick."
you have to do a certain amount of cardio for heart health.
Yeah.
And for the VO2 to bring your blood and to bring, like I keep on saying, bring your blood pressure down. So a certain amount of cardio is needed.
Yeah.
Whether you do 20 minutes, half an hour.
I do 2 HIIT sessions at home a week, 15 minutes, and that's it, and I'm done. I get out of the way, and you know what? First thing people say is, "Oh, you got the bike. I don't use it." Fucking do use it, mate. I use it. Tuesday's my off day and Thursday's my off day, and that's it. Then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I would definitely say cardio is very important. At least for me personally, at least 20 minutes is important, minimum.
Yeah.
If you've done 2 HIIT sessions a day, that's decent. You don't have to do a whole chunk and go for hours and
not at all. And when I show pictures of when I was shredded to my friends and family, they're like, "Oh, how much cardio did you do?" I was like, literally 15 minutes on 2 separate days a week, and that was it. All the rest was just weights.
When I used to do my cardio to get ready for a show, I would do 40 minutes walking. People think, "Oh, you must have been cycling like crazy, or you must have been going for a mad run." No, I'll do 40 minutes on an incline walk, or I'd walk in the park up and down the stairs. And I always get shredded.
Interesting.
6 times, and I've never had a problem getting lean.
Wow.
So, yeah. People under the misconception that you have to do this mad run.
Yeah.
For an hour or hours on end. And you don't. No, you just have to be controlled and consistent.
Ego lifting in the gym, you must see that a lot.
All the time.
What do you say to that then? People you lifting their egos, it's a waste of the session, no?
It's a hell of a waste of the session. I mean, but
you see on the social media as well, like you get these big guys and they're lifting really heavy weight, but the form isn't actually there, but they're still lifting it. And you know, like, let's just say, give an example like a barbell curl. It's like probably like, I don't know, man, like I don't know. I guess it depends on the size of the person. It must be like, what, 50 kg on each side, for example. Yeah. And like the back is arched and just dragging that thing, but they're lifting it and they're actually showing you on social media world. So it's like, it's a bit of a, you know what I mean? It's just a bit of a confusing message.
If you can't do it when it's slow and controlled, it's not worth doing.
There we go.
Because anything else is momentum and you've got to keep the form. So anyone can like just throw something about for a couple of seconds, but taking time and actually making the muscle work is where it's at. So if you start to do like this ego lifting and you're using your back to lift and you're using your arms as well as your legs and your neck and you're doing all this kind of crazy stuff.
Madness. You know what, on social media you see some crazy stuff on social media though, innit? Like I've seen people like, you know, balancing like they're doing a pull up, but they're pulling up like the weightlifting bench and holding the ball around their waist, while in between their legs.
This is the thing with social media. I mean, even when we take weight loss or when we take muscle gain and lifting, and some influencers telling me this is what I did to get like this. They're not telling you the full story. They're showing you a snippet of their life, and then next thing you know, you get some maniac that said, "Oh, so and so said I have to lift 20 of these this way. I have to eat this like 10 times a day, or I have to eat a bowl of cereal to get gains." It was a crop of people that we've seen throughout the years lately, and there's this thing where they're eating jelly babies, loads of sugary sweets, Rice Krispie bars.
Yeah.
And you're seeing them taking in all these sugars, and you're like, what's that for? And I've got to get my blood sugars up. Not knowing the reason why you see bodybuilders eat this stuff is because they're taking extra insulin. They're taking insulin to spike so they can take in more carbohydrates. But people just see bodybuilders doing that and not knowing what the other things that they're doing, why they have to eat these sugars, because their bodies are out of balance. So it's crazy. I mean, the social media really, you have to take with a pinch of salt if you're trying to learn.
Exactly, 100%. Right, we're gonna do a quick fire round. So
Yeah.
I just want quick answers. All right, you ready?
Okay.
All right, cool. Chicken or beef?
Beef.
Soy or eggs?
Eggs.
Plantain or banana?
Planting.
Machines or free weights?
Free weights.
Cardio or lifting weights faster?
Cardio.
Your supplement stack currently?
Ashwagandha, macaroon powder, creatine,
Are you
and vitamin D and magnesium.
nice? I used to have macaroon powder raw, like mixed with food, and then I realized, shit, you can actually just get them in capsules.
Yeah. I have mine with water.
Oh wow!
Or
Okay.
I'll mix the macaroon powder with creatine and water, and then just stand it like a shot.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, I don't mind the taste as long if it's good for me. I'm gonna have it, right? But
Yeah.
as I've had more cuisines around the world, I'm like, do you know what? I can see why people have the option of having a capsule. So when I do have it, I have it in the
I
capsule.
get it.
Your most gifted book you've ever read?
What? Oh, it would have been Rich Dad Poor Dad, right?
Oh wow, that's a good book. That's a good book.
Yeah, that's a really good book.
3 things you can't live without.
3 things. My family, training, and eating.
Yeah. How about you?
That's it, basically.
Advice that you'd give to your younger self?
Listen more and talk less.
Right. So this is a scenario question. So you're on your deathbed and you have to choose one last meal. What would it be?
Steak and chips.
Steak and chip.
Yeah, take it.
Nice. So we're nearly finished now. So top 3 tips you'd give so anyone who wants to lose weight the most healthiest way.
The most healthiest way: drink plenty of water. Eat plenty of green leafy vegetables, and stick to complex carbs rather than white carbs.
Okay, so give an example of complex carbs for those that do have no idea what complex carbs are.
So it's unprocessed carbohydrates. So not flour, not pasta, not white rice without the husk. So anything that's been unprocessed, we would try to eat as opposed to cereal.
Okay, so top of my head, that would be what? Sweet potatoes,
Sweet potatoes,
yams,
yam, yeah,
cassava.
banana,
Yeah.
yeah. These kind of foods that the body takes longer to digest, and it will actually burn more calories while you're digesting it.
And why is that then? Is that because it's
Because
it's a
the
whole
body has
food?
to, yeah, because it's a whole food, and the body has to do the process to break it down, rather than it just digest it really quickly and metabolize it to sugar, pushing up your blood sugars because it's easy.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, if a client came up to you, oh, well, actually, the question is for the listeners out there who just want to start into training, what's your best advice you would give? Like, what kind of exercises to start off with, whether it would be a male or female, or is it different for both? Would you say?
It's kind of the same for both. I mean, it's the compound lift that you've mentioned earlier, the deadlift, the squat, and the clean and press. So the muscles, the movements that are going to require the most muscles to do the movement. So like the deadlift uses the whole of the posterior chain. The squat would use 70% of your body, including your core. It's not just a leg exercise. And your clean and press would use your whole entire body.
Interesting. Now, what sets and repetitions would that be?
Well, it depends on the person. I would say 8 to 10 reps.
Cool.
Resting for as long as you can until you've fully recovered and gained a lower or a sensible heart rate. You can, if you want to burn more fat, or if you want to what's the word? Yeah, if you want to make it more of a hit kind of thing, you can shorten your rest, because give yourself a 15-second window or something to rest. Make it more cardio-ish.
Yeah.
I know you don't like that, but make it more cardio. You can burn a bit more fat, but I would say rest properly and then go in and use technique, proper form, and perform the exercise to the best of your ability for 8 reps.
So 8 reps, what? 3 sets, 8 reps?
4 sets, 8 reps.
Okay, 4 sets, 8 reps. And I'm asking because whenever I see PTs give advice on YouTube, for example, they never tell you how much time for rest periods, or how much would the rest period be in between a set?
As I said, so everyone's individual, but when your heart rate comes down and when you're ready to perform the exercise again,
got you, yeah,
with good form and control, there's no point in saying someone should have 60 seconds rest when they go back to do the exercise and they can't perform the exercise.
That's so true. I was advised many moons ago by a PT that take 60 second rest, and I couldn't do it all the time because I couldn't perform the set properly. That's interesting you say that. And I'm glad you mentioned about the squat. You said that it works 70% of the body, because when I do a leg press compared to a squat, when I do the squat, it feels like I'm doing a lot more work.
Because you're doing a lot more stabilizing muscles. So you're not only just using your quads, your glutes, your hamstring, you're using your abdominals.
Yeah.
You're using your arms to hold the weight.
That's right.
Your back to brace and put in place.
That's it, the upper back.
Where the leg press, you get on the leg press, you press it away. That's it.
That's it. All right, sweet, bro. That's brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. Where could everyone find you if they want to find you?
Lucian Puritan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I should have my book out within the next month or two.
Oh, so yeah. Tell me more about that. I never knew that.
So I've written a book about everything that we've spoken about, health, as well as insecurities, as well as training techniques, food. So that's all in a book. It's called Don't Be a Dumbell. And I'm going to be trying to have it released before the end of this month. So it's completed. Just got to iron out a few kinks and then I'll have it out.
Brilliant, mate. You send that over to me, the screenshot of the book, and I'll attach it to this talk as well, all right?
Will do.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Omar.
Thanks so much, man. Take care.
Lovely speaking to you.
Likewise.
See you later.
Take care, buddy.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.